All right, hello everyone and happy sunny Thursday. We have an upper body strength and core session today. Equipment wise, we're going to use our dumbbells. I will also give you those loop band options, and for our workout as well as, our warm up as well as some of our exercises, we shall be using our long bands. So if you have them, bring them out right away because we're going to start off with some of these pass-throughs. 20 of them to be exact. So for those of us who do not have a long band like this, what you are going to do is follow along with your palms facing down and open them up as you go back and forth through this rotation, trying to open up those palms behind us, close them in front of us, just as what would happen if you did have a long band, which we want to hold nice and wide. So 20 total, or 10 if you want to count there and back as one. We'll get through these ones, which are going to help us loosen up everything in our shoulders, upper back. Feels genuinely just kind of nice first thing in the morning. We'll go through these ones here. Once you're finished, we are going to put that down, stick out our arms to the sides, and join me with these little swimmers. So we want to have our palms facing down. Don't worry about counting these, as they are quite fast and annoying to count. We're going to be on a timer. That timer starts right now. We have 15-second count going up and down with our arms trying to move them quickly. Once again, the intention here is to get that blood flowing into our shoulders, which you'll probably start to feel that little burning sensation brewing. So that 15 seconds is up. We're going to turn the palms now facing the screen and go forward and backward in these swimmers for the next 15 seconds. Got one more happening here. So again, straight arms, we want to be in this T position. Come on in, Carly. 15 seconds here on the clock. We have about 5 seconds left moving through these forward and backward motions. And then we shall relax our arms down by our sides. We're going to go through 5 big circles with our arms straight down beside us, 5 in one direction, trying to move them through the full range of motion. So we want to pull them up beside our ears, try to lose our neck, and then down away from our ears, 5 times total. And then we'll do the same thing in the other direction while keeping the arms down by the sides, which can make it feel a little bit more limited. But as we go through our 5 and 5, hopefully we feel like we're able to make those circles a little bit bigger than when we started. So 5 and 5. Once we finish up that one, we are going to grab it back onto our band. And if you have it, if you don't, you're going to follow along the same way we did for that first one, just holding your hands where mine are, holding this band. We want to hold it a little wider than our shoulders, pressing all the way up and over our head, and then bringing that band back behind our head, hopefully onto the back of our shoulders. And then we'll press all the way back up, come in front to the collarbones, making that contact. That's 1. We shall do that 5 times total. So in this one, we are tapping into that shoulder mobility, which means we don't want to be poking our neck out of the way, but rather we want to try and make our shoulders stretch and reach back behind us, giving us that opening feeling through the front of the shoulders and the chest. So again, there and back is 1. We shall do 5 of them. There you go. So we'll get through these ones here. And then we are going to keep this band in our hands, straightening out our arms in front of us, working with our pull-aparts through 20 reps total. So we want to keep the arms straight, stop before we see that band go loose, and then stop before we hit our chest or our shoulders. Straight arms the whole time, waking up, warming up, everything in our upper back. For those of us who don't have the band, we are going to hinge our hips back, open up our thumbs, and then work with the same motion through our 20 reps total. 20 of them. There you go. Okay. I'm going to angle our camera a little bit down for the next one. All right, so as we finish up those ones, we are headed down onto the floor. You can come on down here, join me in our all 4 positions. We want to stack up our shoulders over our wrists, our hips over our knees. We're going to take one hand, put it behind our head, reaching that elbow towards the top of the opposite hand. We don't have to touch. Inhaling, and then we'll exhale and open up, trying to see the ceiling right above ourselves. That is 1. We are doing 10 of these on each side. So as we go through these, we're trying to squeeze our shoulder blades together with that exhale as we open. And then we want to spread the shoulders, reaching towards the top of the hand, touching if you can, but again, not over stressing that touch so much that we bend this elbow. We want to keep this arm straight. So we'll go through 10 over here. Again, exhaling as we open, and then we'll switch and we'll do 10 on the other side. I'm trying to work that range so it gets a little bit bigger every one of those reps through our 10, so that eventually maybe we can touch that hand or at least see the ceiling right above ourselves. 10 and 10. And then we're going to stand up of the floor and swing out our arms, palms facing down through our arms, the wings that we know and love, allowing those arms to fall back behind the body, alternating which one goes up and down, counting these ones. We shall do 20 of them total. So we want to, again, have those arms fall back behind us, crossing over in front of us, alternating. The one goes up, that goes down, 20 of them. Hopefully we're feeling a little bit warmer in that upper body, because that is going to conclude our warm-up. So we are going to get you started now on our first superset, which is 2 exercises that are both for our shoulders. First one that we're going to do is going to be a single arm shoulder press. Now, we've done all this warm-up stuff, but we haven't done anything with weight to specifically warm up our shoulders. So what we're going to do now in our half kneeling, this position here, shoulder press, is grab onto our lighter dumbbell. So eventually I'll use both of my dumbbells together, but I'm going to start off with just this single one here to give myself a nice warm-up set, which is always just a good idea to help us prevent any injuries, because you know that's always what we're going for here. Keep our bodies working as much as we can. In this neutral grip position, we will come down, stopping right before we touch the shoulder, strong arm out to the side, pressing on the side that we are kneeling on, going through 10 reps total. So we'll go through 10 over here. Again, this weight that we're using hopefully is a little bit, again, on the lighter side. It's not going to be our working weight. And if you only have like one dumbbell, then just work with that one there. 10 over here, and then we'll switch, and we will do 10 on the other side. For those of us who are, again, working with bands, it's going to look a little different, but similar. We're going to hold that band one side in each hand, and then again, work with that press while anchoring that band down with our other hand. So 10 and 10. Once we're finished that first warm-up set, it's not our first official set, we will go into our first official set. So we'll switch back to that first side, and then hopefully grab something a little heavier. If you have, again, a raiment of dumbbells, we'll grab something that's maybe 2 5-pounds heavier than the one we had. I'm going to be doubling up my 8-pounders to make this 16-pounder, and exhaling as we push up, inhaling as we come down, keeping it in this neutral position. 10 reps is what's up for our first official set. Now, if you don't have a weight that's heavier to make this more challenging, what you can do instead is spend a little bit more time at that top part, this sort of wobbly position that we feel up here. We can hang out up there for 1, 2, even 3 seconds, which is going to make whatever weight you are using feel like you actually did grab something heavier than what you have. You probably don't have it if that's the case. So we'll do this on both sides. 10 over here, 10 over here, and that is going to be our first official working set. We will be back here, but we do have another movement for the shoulders that we are going to do with this one before we go into our second set, of course. Lateral raises are on the menu up next. In fact, we are going to be working with a T-hold raise. So we're lifting up into this T position. One arm comes down, comes all the way back up. Other one comes down, all the way back up. That's 2. We're doing 10 total, 3. So this one's hanging out up here while this one goes down, 4. Okay, so you can start your set now. We want to make sure that we're maintaining that strong T position. If you're using weights that are a little on the heavy side, rather than holding in the T, you can hold in this A position here. Come all the way up, back down to the A, rather than holding in the T, because I get it, some of us, again, are stuck with something a little on the heavy side, and this is a lot harder than it looks. Hopefully I've made it look easy, as usual. But you might struggle to get those 10 reps, in which case that's something that you can try instead. Once we're finished this, we shall rest. I do not want you to jump right into your next set. Grab some water. We can swing out our arms, circle out our shoulders, or simply just rest, take a few deep breaths before we go into our next round, because you're probably feeling why. Shoulders down, shoulders. We're working the same muscles in these movements, so we want to allow everything up there to rest for that 30 to 45 second round before we jump into our next set. We have 3 more sets to go through. So again, grab a bit of water, do a little lap around ring dog, whatever it is, and then come on back down, and we are going to get you going on our second set. So again, we're going to be working with that heavier weight that we worked up to. We did that little warm-up set just at the beginning to prepare our shoulders for this heavier press. So we'll go into that heavier weight, load them up here, and make sure our core is tight, pulling in the belly button to the spine as we go through our 10 reps. Now again, this half kneeling position, we do this when we're pressing to avoid that arching that tends to happen in our back. That being said, we still want to be conscious of what's happening, not allowing the ribs to kind of poke out, but rather sort of crunching in, pulling in that belly button, or you can think about contracting this glute and sort of squeezing your butt to help activate your core when you're going through this press. So we'll get this going on 10 and 10, especially if you're working with something that's sort of on the heavier side. That is definitely something we want to think about so that none of that weight goes onto your low back muscles and we keep it all on your shoulders. That's the goal. Alrighty, so 10 and 10. Now another option with our lateral raises, again, for those of us who don't have the right weight dumbbell, maybe you have little cute little 2.5s or 3s, maybe you're stuck with like 15 pounders and there's simply just no way that you can hold them up there. We can always do this with a band instead. So holding the band up there and working with our raises using a long band, or we can grab onto our 2 loop bands and create ourselves a long band by looping them together here and then working again with that lateral raise. The T-hold raise. Again, 10 total, 5 on each side. Do not accidentally do 20. I probably don't need to tell you that, but you never know. And then we'll rest. Once again, enjoying this rest while it lasts, okay, 30 to 45 seconds. And if you feel really challenged, especially by that first one there, then we'll probably take a little closer to that 45 seconds, maybe even upward to a minute, but we will keep the rest under a minute so that we can get through our next 2 sets in an efficient manner, because we got some other work to do after this, of course. So we'll rest it out, going into our 3rd set, and trying our best to make this challenging. So again, we're all stuck with different options. Some of us have a whole set of dumbbells, or maybe we have the adjustable ones, so we have lots of options. Other of us do not have that. We probably might only have like 1 set or 1 singular dumbbell, or maybe 1 of each weight. So let's try to make this 10 really hard for ourselves so that we do not want to do 11 or 12 or 15 reps. If that's what you're thinking in your head at the end of the set, we have to crank it up a notch by, again, adding more time under tension, which could be you pausing the top of those reps or simply just slowing down specifically on that lowering phase, which is something that we very often talk about, that eccentric or lowering phase of our reps. You already know, you probably presume that it's going to make it a lot more challenging. So again, if you're getting to the end of your set of 10, and if you feel like you could probably keep going, I want you to think about that on your next set, is to, again, slow the heck down, either pausing at the top or taking a bit more time to get back down to that start position there. Okay, let's get it. So set number 3, if you haven't started already, let's do it up, because we have about 4 minutes left to get through our final 2 sets. With the burning shoulders. So your shoulders and your quads, these 2 groups of muscles, they hold the most of that lactic acid. And that's that burning sensation that you are most likely feeling, especially on those T-hole raises there. So that's the kind of feeling that we can work through, the kind of burn that you can push through and work through, as long as it's, again, not that sort of sharp, pinchy, acute pain that if you've ever had like a shoulder injury in the past, you might be feeling. in which case you might want to, again, make it a little easier by holding those dumbbells lower. But it's that burning sensation that sort of gradually builds up and gets worse and worse as you do your reps. I mean, isn't that what we're here for? That, because you probably struggle to push through that on your own. So we are here together and we're going to try to work through that for one more set, which is, again, going to be our final set. So we'll take this rest, again, so that we can have a nice, strong, final fourth set. Okay, when you're ready, get on down there. And we are going to do our thing in this last set, going through, again, 10 really challenging reps on both of these. So again, I talked a lot about, making the press more challenging, because by the time you get to those raises, you're probably, again, feeling all this a lot, and you might not need to even think about anything except just struggling to get these reps in. But the same rules apply. If you slow down those T-hold raises, if you take longer, number one, this guy, the moving one, is going to be more challenged, and then this one has to hang out up there longer, which is also going to make everything overall just feel a lot harder. So if that's something you want, then take your time with this last set. We have about a minute and a half to finish it up before we will move on to the next superset, which is going to give your shoulders a break. We're going to be working on our back muscles on the next one here, which is good news, because you are probably burning hot fire in the shoulders. All right, so as we finish up our raises, and you can grab some water, roll out your shoulders, swing out your arms, and again, that's going to just help you sort of disperse that burning sensation that you're feeling. Not necessary, but I know it always sort of feels nice after doing these sort of slower strength exercises. As we finish up those two, we are going to be moving on to a back focused superset, where we'll need all of this same stuff. So keep your dumbbells close, the heavy ones if you have them, and grab some water. Celebrate the fact that you are done that first superset. That is a burner. And we are going to move on to the next one, which is going to start off with a one-arm row. So your back muscles, these ones that run down the sides of your back, they're very strong muscles compared to our shoulders. So we're going to go right into holding one heavy weight, or in my case, my two dumbbells stacked to create that heavy weight, in one hand. Starting off standing hip width apart, soft knees will hinge the hips back, so we're in this bent over position. The side that I'm holding the weight, that leg is going to step back, and then the side that's not holding the weight, I'm going to place this hand on my leg to give myself that additional support for my core and my lower back. So again, we want to be in this bent over position. We're going to start off with the palm facing the hip, and then allow the shoulder to fall forward so we feel that stretch in that back muscle. And then we will pull in and rotate, pulling that shoulder behind the ear, going through that rep, squeezing that shoulder, allowing it to stretch between each one, doing 12 reps total. So this is our one-arm stretcher row, where we have that emphasis on the stretch and the squeeze, and allowing that shoulder to pull forward, and then squeezing it back behind the ear to create that 90 degrees with that rotation in the palm. So as we pull in, we're going to rotate so that our palm ends up facing our ribs. 12 reps total. We'll make sure as well to keep some weight in this hand, again, to give ourselves that core and lower back support. 12 over here. And then again, if you'd like, you can stand up. Make sure to, again, hinge the hips back, have that nice strong setup so that we have that straight back, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Palm faces the hip, letting that shoulder come forward, and then we exhale, pull in, rotating that hand. Oh yeah, 12 on each side. There you go. So the same rules apply if you are, again, working without dumbbells. We can take that band, loop it underneath that foot, and then work with that same row. Again, if you are working with this one here, we'll have that band on the opposite foot, And then we'll work with that rotational row, that same big movement in our shoulder. So this is going to be our first one, 12 and 12. Second one is a Superman variation. So I'm gonna have you guys lay down on the floor. Unfortunately, this time in my life, I cannot join you because things are getting a bit weird in here for me laying on my tummy. But I want you to get down there. We're going to be working with our Superman with a pull-in. Now for this one, there will be nothing in our hands. We want to make sure that we have this shoulder width or a bit wider than shoulder width position. Reaching the arms above our head, keeping them off of the floor the entire time. Feeling again that stretch. So you can almost reach your shoulders to your ears. And then we'll exhale, pull in, squeeze our elbows together behind the back, pulling those shoulders down. 12 reps total. So to make sure that we're getting that nice strong contraction, we want to make a fist in the hands as we pull in. And then as we reach away, we're reaching the fingertips away. And then we pull in and squeeze 12 times total. Now in this one, which I will again do in this sort of hinged over position here, we also want to make sure the elbows are being pushed down to the floor, but not touching the floor. We want to keep everything lifted off the floor. So the whole entire time, we are hovering off the floor through each of those 12 reps total, but not allowing those elbows to drive up to the ceiling, rather pushing them down, feeling that big old squeeze in our back muscles, 12 times. Okay, so that was our first set. Same rules apply with the rest. We are going to take a little bit of time before we jump right into our next set, which again, you're probably feeling like you're working a lot of stuff in our back, specifically down the sides of our back. We might also feel some stuff sort of between our shoulder blades, because these two exercises again do have very similar focus in terms of what muscles we're using. So we'll take the rest, we'll grab water, enjoy it while it's here, because in the next two parts of the session today, there is no rest at all. So we'll take this time right now, again, overall to just let our back muscles rest before we go into, again, 3 more sets of this fun stuff right here. So I'll take this time, a few more deep breaths, and then we shall get going into our second set. 3 more. So again, we'll have that strong setup, hinge the hips back, stepping that opposite foot, make sure we're on the toe, hand on opposite knee or on same knee, and then we'll go through that big stretching row and allowing that shoulder to come forward and then pulling it back, which is part of the deal on this one. We don't want this shoulder to just sort of stay in the same place. We want to allow it to come forward. And you'll feel, again, that stretch happening back here. And then we pull back, getting that nice big squeeze, which is going to involve way more in your back and just sort of pulling in and letting out as we normally do. So we'll think about that here. Second set. Let's do it. Starting it, if you have not already, through our second round. Again, we're doing 12 and 12. Let's do it. So, again, this can be done with our band. Same thing if you are wanting to, challenge yourself. If you are stuck with pretty light weights, you'll probably find that this is maybe not that challenging. So we can either pause, so pulling in and holding here and really squeezing, contracting those back muscles, or we can try doing this with band, either our loop bands or our long band wrapped underneath that, again, opposite foot. And the nice thing about the band is that you can hold it a little closer to that mount point, and that's going to make it a lot more challenging, or you can hold it a bit further, depending on how tight and strong your band is. Because same thing, 12 should be really dang hard, okay? We should not be thinking about doing 15 or anything above 12 reps. So we'll get that going on here through our second set. And then get on down onto the floor for that second round of our Supermans. So same thing, we want to scoop those elbows forward, reach those arms up, fingertips reach away, and then pull apart and down. So we're getting that nice shoulder blades down and back feeling, and all sorts of stuff happening in our back muscles. Okay, And then we have 2 more sets. It's the same thing. We shall rest. You can hang out on the floor. You can stand up. You can walk around. Don't go too far, because again, we'll try to keep this rest under 1 minute, but we will take some time. Okay, and again, if you're not feeling like you need time, if you feel like really antsy to go into your next set, we need to make these sets harder, okay? Because you should feel so worked after that set of Supermans that you actually feel like you need to rest. Because if you didn't, you would not have a very strong set. You go into these rows and you might not even be able to do that because, again, you're so fatigued and tired in those back muscles. That's what we're going for here. So we'll talk a little bit more about what you can do on your next couple sets to make it a bit harder, which you can probably guess, because it's what we always do, because we are so limited on equipment, most of us. And especially with something body weight like the Superman down here, really just having more of that mind to muscle connection, thinking about what we should be feeling, and then holding that contraction, that is what's up if you would like to increase the intensity of your next 2 sets. So we have 2 more, okay? So when you're ready, we'll get going on that 3rd set. We have about 4 minutes, plenty of time to get through 2 more rounds, even with that little rest round in between. Okay. Let's get it. So we'll make sure that we have that almost excessive setup between each set, which is preventative to help make sure that we're in that right starting position. Because, I mean, if you're sort of stepping back and bending down, we run the risk of accidentally sort of rounding our back. But if we make sure that we're hinging our hips back, we have that nice strong position, and then stepping our foot back, then we're in the right spot, and it's almost guaranteed. There you go. Okay, 3rd round, let's do it. And 2nd last set. So hopefully we're feeling all the things in our back muscles, because that is the focus on this superset. All back, for the posture, for the back. There you go. So 12 and 12. Especially when we're doing something like this with this sort of stretching situation, you might find that one side is a lot more challenging than the other. So if that's something that you're feeling on your next set, which is also your last set, let's start on the harder side. So for me, it's different for my upper body and my lower body. For my upper body, my left side is always a little bit slackened compared to my right side. So in this kind of thing, I would start on that left side. So then that way I have a nice solid set on my weaker side, and then I don't put too much effort and work into my right side, because we're not trying to promote the imbalance that most of us have. We want to try to eventually even that out so that we have the same situation going on both sides. And that kind of stuff makes a big difference with, you know, the whole starting on our weaker side. Some of us might not even need to think about that though. It might be even Steven, no problem. There you go. Okay, nice work. So we'll rest and hopefully feel like you need it. If not, you have one more chance, one more opportunity to get this in and really feel your back muscles. Keep pointing down to these ones that run down the sides of our back, because that is the focus for this superset. Okay, so we have 2 minutes, which gives you lots of time to rest. Woohoo! Again, if you'd like to sort of swing out or roll out your shoulders between these sets, feel free to do so. And then when you're ready, let's get it into that final set. Set number 4, the last one. So again, if you do want to challenge yourself, we can try adding that pause and holding here, not leaving until you feel that work happening in your lats, your back muscles. Because this is it, my friends. These 2. This is our final round. Okay. So we'll work through this final set. We have about 1 minute to get in. Maybe just over that if you need it. And then we are moving on to our final strength circuit, because we have 3 movements that are going to finish off our upper body strength for today. Before we do our core work, yay, maybe the hardest part, we will see. See when we get there. All right. So finish up strong here. I'll give you about 30 more seconds, which is pretty much just enough time to get that final set of those Supermans in. So again, we'll make sure that we're driving down those elbows, not leaving this position with that squeeze until we really feel that action happening in our back. And then once we're done, we shall rest. Once again, you can grab some water. If you're already done, do a little lap and get ready for this final part, our last strength circuit. There you go. Which actually starts down on the floor, but not with Supermans. I have a nice spicy plank variation that's going to start our circuit off. And it's actually a plank that is shoulder focused. I mean, yes, it's a plank, so we're going to get a little core work in as well, but you will see. All right, so once you're finished, you can keep all of your dumbbells, your bands close, because we are going to have 2 other movements after this planking variation down here. But you can come on down here and join me on the floor once again, which is this one I can show you because it's not laying on my tummy, which is nice. We are going to be working with an alternating side plank. Now, what's very important in this side plank for the safety of your shoulders is that we have this situation in our arms. Often when we're planking, I talk about this parallel arm situation, but this one, we're going to be working with an alternating side plank. So we want to make sure that our elbows and arms are here, crossed over. It doesn't matter which one's in front of which, but we want to be here rather than here, so that when we open up our shoulders like this, which is a much safer and stronger position than having it in this open position like this. So let's get down here, plank position, and with the forearms crossed across like so. We're going to set up with wider than normal feet. So we want to have our feet a little wider than our normal plank position. We're going to rotate all the way onto the sides of the feet, reach this arm up to the ceiling, and then we come all the way back down, placing that arm back where we started, rotating all the way over to the other side. That's 2. You're doing 10 reps total. So let's get it. You can start your first set down here, and we want to open all the way up through the hips, ending up on the sides of our feet. So I don't want to keep my feet like this. I want to roll all the way over here, coming back onto the toes, and then all the way over onto the other side. Following that hand with my eyes. So I'm looking down at my forearms, and then I open all the way up, looking up at the ceiling. We're doing 10 reps total, 5 on each side. Woo! A little harder than it looks. So again, we're getting some work in the shoulders by working with that opening, rotating feeling and having those arms in that set crossed over position. 10 of them. Okay. Woo! So that's our first one. And then we're going to stand up for the next 2. Exercise number 2 is going to be using our dumbbells. We're working with the rear delt fly. So hip width apart in the feet, and we're in this soft knee hinged over position. Arms are in front of us, palms face each other. Want to punch my wall. Straight arms are going to lift up into this T, 12 reps total of this one here. So again, we want straight arms, unless our dumbbells are a little bit too heavy, in which case we can slightly pull them in and do this with a bit of a bend in the arms, but ideally we want them straight. So if you have, lighter dumbbells, probably want to grab those for this one. Those of us who do not have dumbbells, we can use our band, or maybe your dumbbells are a bit on the heavy side. We can use our band and then work with our bent over rear delt flies. 12 reps total for those ones. There you go. Okay. Very nice. So that's our second one. The third and the last one, I'm going to be using my loop band.
So ideally we want a loop band that is a light or medium strength. I'm going to take it and hold one side in each hand in this 90-degree position in my arms, and then pull it apart slightly while keeping my elbows driven into the body. We're going to lift up so that that band is eye level, and then bring it back down. So we're in this 90-degree sort of belly button height. That's one. We're doing 15 of these burning external rotation lifts. So we're trying to work it's important that our elbows aren't out, but rather they're pulled in, which I know, it's a lot harder that way, but that's what we're going for. 15. So up and down is one. We're doing 15 of these. Again, if you don't have loop bands, then you can always use a long band like this, or even just a towel or a sweater in your hands to have that pressure against the hands. And then we'll lift and lower, trying to maintain that 90-degree angle. So we're not straightening out the arms, we're keeping them bent. And that is a burner. I already know, I don't need to tell you. Now, we're going to try our very best to go right into our second set with no rest in between. We have 3 more rounds that we are going to get through. Although, again, if you need to just take a little bit of time, swing out your arms, roll out your shoulders, grab a quick sip of water, but just know that there is no prescribed rest. So in theory, we're going to try to get right going onto our second set of those alternating side planks. Oh yeah, I already warned you, no rest. All right, so let's get down there and do our thing. We have lots of time to get through this, but that being said, we do want to hustle when we're moving between our exercises and between our rounds as much as we can. So again, 10 reps total, that's 5 on each side, not 10 on each side, 5 each way of those those alternating side planks. And then we are up and at 'em for our rear delt flies, where we're doing 12 reps total. Now it's important in these ones that we are again in that bent over position. We're not parallel with the floor, but if we're standing too upright, then we're kind of just doing a lateral raise. So we want to make sure that we're hinging back so that we can not punch our wall. Sorry, Mom. So that we can target the back of our shoulders rather than the top of our shoulders like we did in that lateral. Another thing to think about on these flies is making sure that we squeeze our shoulder blades together, and we're not just sort of lifting up the arms, but we're actively pulling those shoulder blades together and back. 12 times. There you go. And then, of course, those extremely burning external rotation lifts. So these ones here, they are targeting your external rotators, which are your rotator cuffs, which again is probably something you've heard about because we've talked about it before. But oftentimes we've heard about this stuff because you probably heard of someone or maybe yourself having a rotator cuff injury. So if you're someone who has actually had a shoulder injury before, you have to be a little bit more conscious with this one to not do anything that hurts. So if you are feeling that sharp sort of pinchy, not good pain, not the burning pain, because that's part of the deal, but if you're feeling a not so good pain, then we simply just won't pull apart as much. On the flip side, if you do want to challenge yourself, the further apart you pull the band, like if I'm here and I'm doing this, that's going to be a lot more challenging than just being in here. So you can kind of play around with it, the width of your hands, in order to make it possible to get 15 in. And then you might need to sort of just take a moment, sort of halfway between those reps, or maybe again break it up into like 5, 5, and 5 in order to get through your set. I legit left a little mark on the wall there. Try this at home. Make sure you're clear of walls. All right. Okay, so we have 2 more sets. Woohoo! And lots of time to get through them because we have about 4 minutes left. We keep coming to that time. But 4 minutes until we should be starting to sort of talk about our final part, which is all about our core. And that's the last part. So we are almost there. Okay, but again, we don't want to rush through this stuff as much as you might feel like you want to, because I know it's pretty hard. We are going to take our sweet time with it. Try to breathe through these exercises and get the most out of them by not rushing through them, especially that last one. I just want to get that done so fast, but again, the slower you go, of course, the more challenging it's going to be. And yes, the resistance, the level of resistance on your band will influence how hard this is. So usually when we get these little loop bands, they come in sort of different levels. That's why I say a light to medium strength is ideal. And if you are really feeling like you're not going to make it on those ones, and you can always grab a little towel over here, a towel instead, to work with this, which is again just going to make it feel a lot more manageable for those of us who maybe only have like a heavy band or no band at all. That's what we're going to use. All right, so as you guys finish up your last couple sets, I'm going to set up our timer for our last part. Yay! Timer means no counting. All right, always gives me these weird ads. Okay, 9. Perfect. Okay, so again, yeah, lots of time. Our last core circuit, our last part of the session is core, and it takes us 12 minutes. So we have plenty of time to get this set and our last one in, whether you're on your third or your fourth. We'll take our time with it. Finishing strong as we started. That first set that we did, you remember it. Try to do the same thing on these final couple sets. And as we are coming to an end, we are just going to rest until the next part. So if we finish a little bit before that time is up, you can grab some water and roll out your shoulders, swing out your arms, do whatever you want to do to make yourself feel a little bit better in your upper body, because I know that you are burning on this last set. Okay, so we'll take about 2 more minutes, my friends. We'll give you 2 minutes to finish up the set, as well as rest a little bit if you are already done. The last and final part is going to be down on the floor, and we are going to be incorporating some weighted resistance. So we will want our dumbbells close to us. If you don't have dumbbells, then we'll grab, again, preferably like a weighted household item, a water bottle, a throw pillow. It doesn't have to be heavyweight, but just something to hold in our hands. It can even be like that towel that I was holding there, rather than our dumbbells. But we are done with the bands. So as you finish up that last external rotation lifts, you can chuck that band into its home, hang it up, whatever you want to do, because we are done with them. Which is very good news, because ow, we are burning. Okay, so we'll take this time here, grab some water. We are working off of a timer. The next part, we need 12 minutes. So we're gonna press start on that bad boy in 1 minute. Okay, so you have 1 minute here to sort of regroup, get yourself together from that burn, and come on down and join me on the floor, where we are going to talk about what's up for this final part. We're actually going to start off, you probably don't want to hear this, but in a plank position. I know, the planks. But I think that this next plank is maybe a little bit more manageable and easier than that alternating side plank. I mean, everyone's different, but you know, you never know. Okay, so for our final part, we're going to start off with a plank variation. We have 3 exercises, 3 movements that we're going to do, 60 seconds on each. The second movement is a double-sided, so we're going to switch halfway. But the first and the last is we're just going to go hard for 60 seconds. So for this first one, we do not need any equipment. We're going to be working with our alternating arm-leg lifts in our plank position. So for this one, we'll have those parallel forearms. You don't have to start yet. You can just watch me, because I've not pressed start on the timer. So we'll save your energy for that timer. So you have to do it for a minute. We're doing 3 rounds total of these ones. So you'll have to do each of these 3 times. So in our plank position here, We want to see if we can lift up our opposite arm and opposite leg. So that is pretty challenging, especially when we're doing it for a minute. So if you are struggling with this one as you try it, you can try just doing your arms. But again, we want to control that tilting and shifting in the hips. So if that's too hard, then you can just do your legs, or you can simply just hold the plank, okay? But I want everyone to try to work on some form of a plank hold, 1 minute. I'll show you the other two movements on our 20 seconds of rest that we have between each of these, okay? All right, so let's get ready. Ready or not, we are gonna start in 5 seconds. Plank it out, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So again, we're trying to hold the plank, reach our opposite hand, opposite leg. See if you can do that first. If you can maintain that, even if you take a bit of time between each of those reaches, you don't have to go right, left as fast as you can. Take your time. Think about having more control over your hips, over that strong plank position than speed. I don't care how many reps you get. We want to have that control so that we're not sort of tilting and falling out of that plank. And when in doubt, just plank it out and just hold that plank position. Just hang out there. If you are still really struggling, you can widen up your feet, which is also going to make those lifts a bit more manageable as well. 15 seconds, my friends. We got this. Remember, you only have to do it 2 more times. 3 sets total. Saving grace. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. So for our second one, we are going to want to hold a dumbbell in our hands. We're going to lay down on the floor with our knees bent up. Dumbbell is going to be in our right hand to start. Left hand is going to be out on a 45-degree angle across the floor. We're going to straighten out our opposite foot, push our low back down into the floor, reach that dumbbell back just above our head, and then exhale and crunch up, crossing over towards that foot. Now, the further back we allow that dumbbell to go, the more challenging this one's going to be. So if you feel like you cannot quite keep your back down, then don't push that dumbbell back so far, or whatever you're holding, your water bottle, your pillow, a book, whatever it is, we'll try to keep it in control so that the whole time we can keep that low back into the floor. We don't want our foot or leg to touch the floor. Just that one that's bent up is going to stay down, but this one's going to stay straight and hover the whole time. Okay, and switch sides. So we're switching halfway over to the other side. The next 30 seconds is going to be on this side here. Okay, breathing through this one. We have about 10 seconds left. Oh yeah, there you go. All right. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, nice work. So for our second one, we're going to now take that dumbbell and hold one side in each hand. Legs are going to lift up into this straight position. We're going to, again, drop the dumbbell behind the head, and then exhale and crunch it up towards the feet. So we're working through this one. If you want to make it harder, what you can do is rather than reaching towards the feet, you can reach more above the head, back here like this, and it's going to be a lot more challenging to get our shoulder blades to leave the floor. But the same rules apply with our low back. We want to keep it tight, fixed to the floor so that there's no space under there. And we're doing this one for the whole minute. So you are halfway through. We have 30 seconds left. So again, the legs are going to stay still. We're trying to make sure that the shoulder blades leave the floor every single time we come up. Exhaling as we come up, inhaling as we drop down. You got it. Okay, 10 seconds left. Yes, feeling all that work in our core, in our abs. 3, 2, 1. Okay, put that weight down. Yes, flip back over because we have our second set. So we're going to flip back over into that plank position as much as you don't want to. 2 more rounds and then we are done for the day. Okay, plank. Here we go. So again, lifting up that opposite arm and leg, and let's do it. Timer has started, so have you. Again, if you felt like you could not maintain that, then try just the legs. Right leg, left leg. Again, trying to control the hips, or just hold the plank. Hanging out there, trying to just breathe through that, because that might be really challenging at this time in our lives. After we already did, that plank version before, we got these other two movements going on with this. Not a lot. 20 seconds. Okay, so again, when in doubt, just hold the plank. Do not touch your knees down. If anything, widen up your feet and breathe. That's going to help you get through this more than anything else. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Okay, onto our back. Again, we have that weighted crossover crunch. Bending at the knees, straight arm, other arms down on the floor, straightening that opposite leg, and dropping down as much as we're comfortable with, and then exhaling, and let's go. So same thing, we'll work with 30 seconds on each side. I will tell you when to switch. And we're trying to push that low back down. There it is. Okay, so a couple more on this side. Breathing through them. Oh yeah. 3, 2, 1, and switch. So we'll hustle in switching sides, switching the arms, switching the legs, passing over that dumbbell safely. Of course, we do not drop it on ourselves. And going right away. We have 20 seconds left on this side. There it is. Okay, so breathing through these. 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, so you can put that dumbbell down, but keep it close because we need it again for our second one. Now, if you do want to make this a bit harder, if you have a second dumbbell or a heavier dumbbell, you can hold sort of one in each hand like this and low back into the floor. And let's go, working through that second set and trying to have big movement in our shoulders and breathing. Once again, having that breath, that inhale on the way down. Exhale, shoulder blades leave the floor. We're going to feel this again a lot through our core, our abs. And again, if we're feeling a little bit of pressure or tension in our lower back, remember that, and that is because we're having so much work and emphasis on our ab muscles here, that the low back might be kicking in to help us out. So as long as it's that sort of dull, aching sensation, like working pain, you can keep working through it. If you feel like it's kind of sharp and pinchy, then don't drop your hands back so much. You can more just work with that smaller range of motion. 10 seconds left. Got this. 3, 2, 1, and okay. Okay, here we are for our final set. This is it, the last one. So dumbbells down, a flip over, plank position. Get ready to start in 5 seconds, my friends. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Opposite arm, opposite leg. You got this. Again, the planking. We're doing all these crazy plank variations, these different variations of planking with the arms and the legs and the dynamic movements to get you stronger at the planks. Because the only way you get better at planking, I've said this before, is by planking and by actually sort of forcing yourself into that uncomfortable feeling where you really don't feel like you're going to make it, but somehow you just hold it and persevere through that amount of time. We have 25 seconds left. So again, even if you're just strictly holding, that's going to give you way more than you dropping down and coming back up and maybe reaching and dropping down. Just breathe. Okay, 15 seconds and you're done the planks for today. So those last two, which I think are a little easier than this one. There you go. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, and flip, because we're gonna finish off with those last two. crossover crunch, and then our weighted toe touch starting in 10 seconds. So we'll bend up the knees and weight in the hands. Opposite leg is straight. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Again, exhaling as we come together, trying to have that one shoulder leave the floor. So the arm that's down, that shoulder is going to stay, but the weighted one is going to try to crunch up and slightly across, which is going to help us target more than just your core muscles down the front. We're going to get a little bit of that oblique work on the side because we're sort of coming up and over to the middle. One more on the side. And switch sides. Other side. 30 seconds. Last set. Almost the last one. Second last one. And then we are done. We can enjoy this sunny day. 15 seconds left. You got this. Strong finish. I know how you're feeling. You are burning. Hopefully not as much as a burn as those other shoulder movements we did. 3, 2, 1, and rest. But stay here. So we have our final one, our weighted toe touch. And that is going to take us to the finish line. A couple quick stretches after this. You're going to want to do them though, for all the stuff we did today. All right, grab that weight or those weights, legs up, and here we go. Again, reaching back, making sure that that back is tight. So if your back is popping off the floor, then you're really not getting the full benefit of this one. By pushing our back down and sort of bracing it down to the floor, number one, we're helping keeping our low back muscles a lot more safe because we're keeping that stress on our abs and our core. If your back's popping off the floor, then all that weight and tension is going to go onto those back muscles, which is not the goal. We say core work because we're trying to work your core, your abs. 25 seconds left. You got this. So we're going to breathe through these last few, taking our sweet time and not rushing through this. Control over the amount of reps that you're getting. 10 seconds left. Last one or two. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, dumbbells down. Oh, so good. We are going to flip back over, but don't worry, not into a plank. We're going to get back into that all-four position that we had a little bit of practice in the warm-up, getting that cat-cow going. So I want you to take a big breath in, and then exhale and push your ribs down to the floor. Start to look up to the ceiling. This is going to give us a nice opening stretch down our ab muscles down the front. Take a big inhale, and then we'll exhale and round our back, tuck our chin, which is going to give us that big stretch down our back. Both of those equally worked today. So then again, inhale, and then we want to move with that exhale. Exhaling as we push the ribs down. We're going to do 3 of these total. So feeling that stretch down the front. And then inhale, exhaling, and rounding the back. Trying to lift your spine up to the ceiling. Getting that nice stretch all down your spine. So we'll do 1 more of these. And then last one, inhale. We'll finish this off by dropping our hips onto our heels and then walking our fingertips away from the body. Once again, getting that nice opening stretch through our back. Just to increase that a little bit more, we'll take our right hand, put it on top of our left, and then we'll turn and look underneath that left armpit. So we'll feel this stretch on the back muscles, more specifically on the side of the top hand. So that's where we should be getting that going on here, as well as our low back. We'll take about 3 or 4 deep breaths in this position here, 30 seconds. Opening and lengthening that spine, trying to sit the heels, so the butt on the heels a little bit more. Okay, so we'll put that hand back down. We'll take now the left hand, put it on top of the right, And then turn and have a little peek underneath that right armpit, getting that stretch now on the opposite side. Again, about 3 to 4 deep breaths. It feels so good. So we're just going to do one set of these stretches together. But like always, my friends, you can always come back and complete another round of this little stretch circuit that we're doing. If you're feeling tight, if you want a little bit more stretching action, it's going to help loosen you up a bit more than just the one set. So we'll come out of this one and we'll stand up. For the last two, we'll reach our hands behind our back, try to interlace our fingers and straighten out our arms. Now, if you're someone who is a little on the tighter side, this is going to not feel so good. If not, it's going to be impossible. In which case, you can release those hands, just put them on your hips, and then try to pull your elbows together. We can also, as well, sub this one entirely for our door frame stretch, which is, again, just for those of us who are a little tighter and who can't quite get that interlocking finger situation in the back here. So same thing with these ones. We'll just count our breaths. We'll take about 3 cycles of an inhale, exhale, trying to pull our shoulder blades together, opening up our chest and shoulders down the front here. So I was giving you updates. I swear it's like a 9 a.m., 8:30 a.m. update party on my computer. So we'll hold this here. And then the last one is going to come in front of our body, which we'll probably all have a pretty easy time doing, interlacing the fingers in the front, pulling the shoulder blades apart, and then we want to tuck our chin. So we get the back of the neck, the upper back involved in the stretch. We can soften our knees and then allow our body to round forward, which is going to help us involve that low back into the stretch. So again, not only are we going to feel the shoulder blades, but hopefully we're also feeling everything through our low back. Now, depending on your flexibility, depends on how low you get. This is me. You might be a little lower, maybe even closer to your feet. This is about like that. So I'm going to hold this here and taking a few deep breaths and just overall stretching this out. So we'll come back up. The last one that I just want to quickly show you is this crossover. We can cross the arm over, pull that arm in, which is just overall going to help us sort of get that nice shoulder stretch, because we did a lot of burning shoulder work today, and you might be feeling a lot of tension in the shoulders. So this is the last one that is going to help us just overall loosen that up. Feel free to hold that, again, a little longer if you would like, but you, my friends, are done with me. So thank you so much for another awesome Thursday workout. Thanks to Carly and Dave for hanging out in the Zoom room. Hopefully you feel good, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for our leg day, our last session of the week. Have a great day, enjoy the sunshine, and I will catch you guys next time. And my replay watchers, always love reading your comments. You know this, because I always tell you. So drop one below. Let me know how you feel, and hopefully, again, I will see you tomorrow, live or in the replay, whatever it is. Okay, have a good one. Catch you guys later.